Joining us by Zoom this morning, we have Raph Graybill. He is Governor Steve Bullock's chief counsel, and he's also running for Attorney General. Good morning, and thanks for joining us live from Helena.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you today. So let's talk about first the upcoming election. It sounds like mail-in ballots is the way we're going, but what should the voters know this time around?
Well, we learned this week that all 56 Montana counties opted into the all-mail and early vote option. And I think it's really important to emphasize to folks, a lot of the talk in the news is about going to all mail, but it's also an early vote option. And so what that means is there's basically two ways to vote. If you're already registered and your address is active, you're going to get a ballot at your house. And all you have to do is just put that in the mail, send it back. And one of the things Governor Bullock did that I think I really commend is he made it so that the state will pay for your postage. And so even if you get an envelope that's already been printed before this whole crisis happened that says put a stamp on it, you can just put that in the mail, send it back, and it's covered. Now, if you're one of those people that prefers going in, and that's totally fine, you now have 30 days to go in to your county election seat. And our goal there is the idea that, on the last day, a lot of folks show up and there's these big lines, and we don't want to have a situation like we saw in Wisconsin earlier this week, where there's all these lines, all this crowding. With coronavirus, that's dangerous. And so we want to make sure anybody that wants to go in still can, but there's less crowding. There's 30 days to do it. But if you want to stay at home, reduce your exposure, stay safe, like we're all trying to do right now, all you have to do is get that mail ballot, send it right back.
All right. And the next question I want to ask you is about the directives that we are seeing. We're watching them live on TV. What is the process for creating those directives? They seem to come in 2-week increments. So why is that the best approach versus something longer term?
The information that we're learning about both the virus and how the virus is spreading in Montana and how we're stopping the spread is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. And so Governor Bullock is committed to taking this in 2-week increments at a time. Things may get better. We hope things do not get worse. But we found that 2 weeks is generally enough of a window to give people time to plan, time to look ahead, but also time to adjust and change. For a long time, those adjustments were upward, having more restrictive conditions to make sure that we don't spread this virus. And it'll also give us an opportunity to gradually, once we cross that part of the curve, when it's safe, start to phase some of those back.
And something I want to finish up with here, we have a lot of viewers concerned in our area with some of the seasonal workers who can come into the state. I mean, some of them might be doing roofing or some of them might be doing road work. And from what we've heard from the directive so far, anyone traveling, has to quarantine for 14 days as long as it's not work related from what I understand. But are you guys looking at some sort of order to tell those workers, hey, they have to quarantine for 14 days because that could, increase the risk in our communities?
Absolutely. That's something that's on our radar and that we're aware of. Right now, the quarantine order says if you're traveling to Montana for non-work reasons, you have to do the 14-day quarantine. And the idea there is if you're driving a truck to Albertsons and you're just dropping off groceries for people, you don't have to quarantine. You come in, you do your work, and you leave. But we are certainly aware of the summer situation with all the seasonal jobs. That's something we're looking at. And I am aware that voluntarily already some of the big construction projects this summer that bring folks in, they're already doing a 14-day quarantine. And I think that really highlights, this is something where the government has provided some leadership, but really it's the community coming together to make sure we all do the common sense things we know that'll help spread this virus.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's definitely good to hear that it's something you guys are looking into. We appreciate your time and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this break.